You may not realize Disney's trying to pull the fast one on you, but there are so many ways that the most magical place on earth continues to trick us into forking over even more of our hard-earned cash than we were originally planning. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So you know, I know, and your neighbor down the street knows that Disney World is expensive. But sometimes Disney winds up tricking us by making it even more expensive with its sneaky upcharges and surge prices and manipulation tactics, which make us actively choose to spend more money than we originally planned to. So today we're exposing Disney's money-draining schemes to make sure you're only going to pay for what you need to pay for on vacation without breaking your trip funds in the process. Now, just to clarify, Disney's not breaking any laws here. These are marketing tactics, y'all. This is what happens to us every single day with advertising and online deals and everything else. But if you know before you go, then you might be able to make some smarter choices. So first up, the more you spend, the more you get. Well, that's obvious, right? But in this case, it translates to shorter lines and more time in the theme parks. Yep, this is pay to play, my friends. If you book a room at one of Disney's deluxe resorts versus one of their cheaper, moderate, or value resorts, then you'll have the extra extended evening hours benefit. That's going to let you stay and play in certain parks on certain nights up to 2 hours longer than everybody else, aka the people who aren't paying to stay in those very expensive hotels. And don't forget, if you purchase the premium Disney Genie Plus service from your My Disney Experience app, then you'll be able to skip over several of the really long ride and attraction lines. But if you purchase individual lightning lanes, which cost even more, you'll get to skip over those really long lines for the most popular rides of the parks. And sure, you can simply purchase a Magic Band to hold all your park tickets and reservations and hotel room key cards, but you can pay just a little more for a Magic Band Plus and also unlock interactive elements throughout the parks, including an exclusive Magic Band Plus Bounty Hunter game for when you're over in Galaxy's Edge. And if you pay more for parking at the theme parks, you'll get preferred parking, which means less walking to and from the parks and makes tracking down your vehicle at the end of the day a lot more convenient. Yep, Disney sure does love to upcharge us so that we'll have a better time on vacation, but here's the thing. All these things I'm talking about, you don't have to buy, and you can still have a good trip, whether you spend money on them or not. So before you dive all in and purchase these add-ons and more expensive endeavors, decide if the perks are really going to be worth the cost. If your group's main priorities are to hit up as many rides as possible with the limited time you've got, then yeah, those extended evening hours and Genie Plus planning could come in handy. But if you're planning on using your My Disney Experience app to hold all your reservation information and you really don't mind having to park a little further out in the parking lots just to save a buck or two, then you're not going to need to save back for things like Magic Bands and preferred parking. Some of your extra expenses might also depend on what time of the year you're visiting the parks. While Disney's peak seasons bring heavier crowd levels and make lightning lanes more appealing, slower seasons like August and September don't really need you to purchase Disney Genie Plus in order to save time waiting in line, unless you really want to. So talk it over with your fellow travelers and budget for which extra purchases will actually benefit you the most on your upcoming trip, and avoid the ones that are better left unpurchased because they're not going to really make that much difference for your trip. Next up is the promise of savings by spending more money. How ironic is that the promise of saving money might actually lead you to spend more? Well, for example, why purchase a regular drink at your resort's quick service when you could spend $21.99 for a refillable mug and get free refills at most all hotel quick service locations for the remainder of your trip? And why purchase a regular bag of popcorn for $6 when you could pay $13 to $25 on a refillable popcorn bucket and only have to pay $2.25 for all your popcorn refills from here on out? Well, it's time to copy and paste the advice I gave you before. You need to see if these extra expenses are really going to save you in the long run, or if spending extra on these things won't actually wind up benefiting you all that much. If you plan on spending a lot of extra time around your hotel, then the mugs can be a great way to get a lot of drinks for a way better value. But if you're only planning on grabbing a drink from your resort's quick service location maybe once or twice, that extra $22 isn't going to do you a whole lot of good, unless you just like owning the cup. After all, you can still refill it at your own house with your own drinks even after vacation ends. Just remember though, refillable mugs cannot be used in the theme parks. These are made for resort use only, which could be a big deciding factor for whether this extra expense will actually be worth it for you or not. Now, as far as the popcorn buckets are concerned, that also depends on just how much popcorn you plan to consume around the parks. This can potentially be the cheapest snack option you're going to find on property, but if you'd rather munch on some other treats while on vacation that are a little more out there, not quite as normalized as regular old popcorn, then getting a whole bucket just for one round of popcorn could be a meh deal in the end. But again, if you're big into the popcorn bucket collecting scene, then you may just want to purchase one simply because they look cool. And if that's what you want to spend your souvenir money on, awesome. All right, time to talk alcohol. This isn't just a Disney thing, this is an everywhere thing. If you're 21 and older and you decide to get a drink or a float that includes alcohol, you're gonna have to spend more on it. Now, you weren't always able to get alcohol in the Disney parks. Walt really frowned on the idea, stating that alcohol brings in a rowdy element, and that brings people that we don't want, and I feel they don't need it. But Epcot kind of ruined that. In 1982, when Epcot first opened, it was revealed alcohol would be for sale in Disney World's second park. Such a huge feature of the World Showcase was and still is experiencing other cultures, and for many countries, drinks are a key component to that. Could you imagine an Epcot International Food and Food Festival? Yeah, not quite as exciting. When Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom opened later on, they also brought alcoholic options into those parks, leaving Magic Kingdom as the only dry park in Disney World. But in 2012, Be Our Guest restaurant opened in Fantasyland and became the first ever dining location to serve adult beverages in Magic Kingdom. I remember it well. Now, whether you feel like this was a good change, a bad change, or one you're indifferent towards, one thing remains true. Disney's gonna make you pay a pretty penny for that cocktail or that wine or that beer. Let's look at Tamu Tamu refreshments over in Animal Kingdom for a more popular example. If you order a normal Dole Whip float here, expect to pay around $6. But if you get that Dole Whip float spiked with rum, that automatically doubles the price of your drink to $12.50. If you're someone who wants to try at least a handful of Disney's adult beverages, because enjoying a Lapu Lapu out of a pineapple from Tambu Lounge in Disney's Polynesian Village Resort is a joy I would never want to talk you out of, make sure you budget before your trip to guarantee these pricey drinks aren't going to accidentally push you over the edge. You'll probably want to save for maybe 1 or 2 specialty drinks a day, and even if you don't wind up spending that money on fun drinks, you can still save it for a little fun souvenir instead. Then an extra reminder for you, water is your BFF in Orlando. Those fruity little Mai Tais are going to taste good, but they're not going to rehydrate you, so make sure to drink plenty of water and ask for free water cups at quick service locations as much as you can. Next, it's time to talk bounce back offers. We have talked about these a lot in the past, but not for a little while, I don't think. It's how Disney reminds you of how much fun you're having in their parks and how desperate you must be to return to the most magical place on Earth, even when you're not quite done with your current vacation just yet. Let me explain. Disney likes to offer you savings opportunities on occasion before the end of your trip, hence the bounce back title. You're just bouncing on from one Disney vacation to the very next. Oftentimes, you'll find these savings opportunities placed very clearly in your hotel room toward the tail end of your trip, promising you a hefty discount if and only if you book your next Disney trip before your current one ends. If it weren't Disney we were talking about here, I'd say that's a whole lot of audacity for a vacation I'm already currently shoveling thousands of dollars into, but this is Disney, and frankly, yeah, many guests probably are thinking about how they're going to save up for their next Disney vacation. If you really do plan on returning to Disney World later on, then don't miss out on these major savings when available, but also make sure you already know you want to seal that second vacation deal before you head off toward your first trip, because savings or not, that's still a really pricey impulse decision to make. If you don't see a bounce back offer giving you subliminal messages somewhere in your room, you can always ask a front desk cast member or call the extension bounce back offer number on your hotel phone, which is 8844, to see what potential discounts you might be eligible for during trip number 2. Also, if you do succumb to the impulse buy, I get it, I've been there, you can always cancel that trip if you're not going to end up going. Just a heads up, sorry to be an enabler. All right, surge prices, friends. Let's cut to the chase here. The busier the parks get, the higher the prices spike. Disney has made several of their vacation items, like their hotels, park tickets, park hoppers, Genie Plus add-ons, into surge-priced items. That way, when demand for these items goes up, Disney can hike the prices up. But when demand goes down, they can lower it again. Ticket prices tend to spike up closer to the holidays and on weekends or during specialty events when Disney knows there's going to be a huge crowd coming, like during Run Disney races and important anniversary celebrations. And if you're planning on only purchasing a one-day, one-park ticket for your trip, then these surge prices will all depend on which park you choose. Here's a quick breakdown of what each park costs if you do the one-day, one-park option. While these parks are priced individually, with Animal Kingdom having the lowest prices and Magic Kingdom the highest, they still continue to fluctuate based based on what time of year you plan on visiting. Park hopping in Disney Genie Plus used to be a set price, but last year they were transformed into surge price systems as well. Now, park hopping add-ons start at $65 on top of your regular ticket price, but have the potential to spike up, while Disney Genie Plus prices range between $15 and $35 per person per day. As of right now, that could go higher. Individual Lightning Lane prices also tend to fluctuate, much like the one-day, one-park ticket options do. It all depends on what ride you want to pay to skip the lines for and what day you choose to visit. Here's another breakdown for how much you might have to pay for an individual Lightning Lane per person per single ride-through. While these individual Lightning Lanes can be super useful, especially if you only have a limited time in the parks, they can also add up super quickly too. You can only hold 2 individual Lightning Lanes per day, but you can hold 2 individual Lightning Lanes for 2 different parks if you have that park hopper add-on. I know, a lot of money talk coming at you right now, but here's the good news. Much like we mentioned before, you don't have to pay for those extra Lightning Lanes and park hoppers. If you do want them, you can always determine what their surge prices are going to look like just by checking the park ticket price calendar online. When you're going to purchase your park tickets, Disney doesn't hide these fluctuating ticket prices from you. You'll be able to see all the price ranges for not just the month you're planning on visiting, but any other prices for the rest of the year. Just to give you a heads up, if you're searching for a 4-day park ticket and that ticket price dips as low as $114 per day, then you are definitely planning a trip around Disney's slowest season, which means you'll also find the cheapest hotel room deals and Genie Plus prices too. At the moment, the cheapest 4-day ticket prices we're finding will happen around the end of August. However, if those ticket prices are jumping up around the $159 range or higher, then it looks like you're currently planning a trip around Disney's busier times of year, meaning you're going to run into some mighty high prices for everything. Currently, the most expensive 4-day ticket prices are listed for the week of Christmas. So do some exploring, see what prices are going to look like each month so you can figure out which vacation time frame could potentially be the cheapest option for you and your family. Okay, Disney also loves to overcharge us for essentials. It happens to the best of us. We think we're all packed and ready for the best trip ever, when all of a sudden we realize we forgot to pack our over-the-counter medications, or our sunscreen, or contact solution, or extra diapers. Now there's a nightmare scenario for you. Been there, done that. When you forget any of these essentials back home, your Disney Resort gift shop has you covered, for the most part. You can quickly and conveniently pick up whatever you're lacking without having to leave your hotel. But that convenience comes at a price. Disney tends to double the cost of these important items, and when you're desperate enough, you'll more than likely jump to meet that cost without batting an eye. Just remember, you can always use Instacart to have grocery store items delivered to the lobby of your hotel, or shipped, or Amazon Prime, whatever you have. Just make sure that if you use these apps, you'll make it worth your while. Instacart can be a more expensive solution if you only have one thing you need to replenish, because tax and tip are included in the cost. However, if you decide to purchase multiple items and maybe a few snacks and drinks to take into the parks with you, then it can save you money in the long run. You may even be able to apply a discount to your total purchase before you check out. Make sure to check the Deals tab and see what coupons are available for you to use. Also, if you're in the parks and are in major need of over-the-counter meds or Band-Aids or sunburn relief, stop by the first aid stations available in each of the parks. Not only will these stations be able to provide you with sample-size pain relievers, but they'll also be able to provide them for free. And honestly, that might be a tip that could potentially save your entire day. All right, time to throw Memory Maker under the bus again, my friends. When you're about to check out your Disney World theme park tickets online, you'll receive a question right before you finish your purchase asking if you want to add on Memory Maker to your bill. In theory, Memory Maker sounds like a great idea. You get to prepay for all the PhotoPass pictures you take around the parks for your entire trip, including in-ride photos, magic shots, super zoom magic shots, all of it. And if you buy right now, you can save $30 if you buy your Memory Maker before your trip. Sweet deal, right? It depends on who's asking. Even with that $30 of savings, Disney is still asking you to drop an extra $169 on top of what you're already paying for tickets just for these pictures. So let's do a little math here. If you want to pay for an individual PhotoPass picture or a set of 2 4x6 prints, they're going to cost you $19. That means in order for you to actually save money by choosing the Memory Maker add-on, you need to take 9+ photos around the park. Could be easier, especially if you're counting all the in-ride pictures, but now you have to trust that all those 9 pictures are actually going to be good and worth it, because I can't tell you how many times I've ended up with PhotoPass pictures where my whole family looks sweaty and tired in front of the castle, or someone blinked in front of the Tree of Life, or my face is completely blocked out by someone else's hair during my Tower of Terror candid shot. If you want to buy 1 or 2 single PhotoPass pictures after your trip, that might be a better deal for you rather than being forced to purchase them all. Or if you don't want to pay for PhotoPass pictures whatsoever, you can always ask PhotoPass photographers to take a picture of your family in front of Spaceship Earth by using your own camera or phone to snap the shot, and they'll do that absolutely free. Also keep in mind that if you decide to purchase Disney Genie Plus for certain park days, then all your in-ride photos from that day will be included with the price. Now, this is one of those tricks that got me every single time. All things shiny and interactive and expensive are what kids love best. And when the sun's starting to go down on your Magic Kingdom day and the nighttime spectacular is getting ready to dazzle you with its projections and fireworks, that's when the light up sabers and balloons and bubble wand carts come out in full force. You know what else comes out in full force? Your kids, tugging at the hem of your shirt and pleading, please, can I get a super cool magic wand thing, please? It may seem like an innocent enough request, but don't be fooled. These little toys cost more than you think. Glow wands can be $26 to $30, bubble wands can be $30 plus, and light up balloons are $17 to $20. That's a lot of money for something your kids are going to be interested in for like 2 hours, if not less. Not to mention traveling with a bubble wand? Now that is a mess on its own. Believe me, I've bought all of these. So glow sticks, balloons, sabers, wands, bubbles with Disney-inspired theming can usually be found in the toy aisles of big box stores or even at dollar stores for way less money. So if you know your kid's not going to know the difference between a $30 glow wand and a $5 glow wand, then you can purchase these items before your trip and have them on hand for when the begging and pleading commences. It's also not a bad idea to have a set souvenir budget for your kids that they can spend on whatever they'd like. Just make sure you talk to them about this set amount before your trip, obviously, and let them know that once that amount's gone, that's it. No more souvenirs. This might help them be a bit more cautious about what they choose to beg for in the parks and only focus on the things they really want to take home with them instead of what they really want to buy just because it's shiny and slightly obnoxious. Next, let's talk about that limited time only language. Disney knows that FOMO can push people into doing a lot of things that they might not have done or paid for otherwise, which is why the seasonal and limited release and this weekend only language can kindle a fire of desire in your heart that's rather unexplainable at times. You know when you see those limited time only or limited edition souvenirs, like for a special anniversary or a particular day, like Animal Kingdom's 25th anniversary, and the lines to get that merchandise are out the door, but then a week later it's all still there and you can just go buy it and it's not a big deal. Yeah, that's what we're talking about here. It's all about how you pitch the item you're selling. If people think that this might be the one and only shot at getting something, they'll more than likely make that impulse purchase and deal with the buyer's regret later. To be fair, many things that you'll find in the parks nowadays that are labeled as seasonal or limited aren't lying to you, and that goes both for snacks and merchandise. When it comes to snacks, I'd say you definitely want to go ahead and give a seasonal treat a try while you have the chance, because it's a good possibility you really won't have another chance to try those again. But even if there's a popular snack that seems to always stick around, like a traditional Dole Whip, for instance, that you really want to try, don't let that limited time only warning label for a different snack tempt you away from something you actually want, especially if you don't get the chance to visit the parks all that often in the first place. And as far as seasonal souvenirs are concerned, same rules apply. Sure, that limited edition Spirit jersey for the holidays might be selling out like hotcakes, but if you've got your eyes set on a certain underrated Jim Shore piece that you know is going to look great on your bookcase back home, go with that instead, since you know it'll serve you better in the long run. Also, check the Shop Disney website when you get the chance, just to make sure that seasonal item you're mulling over isn't currently being sold online. Because more often than not, shopdisney.com will run really good sales on theme park merchandise, where you'll be able to buy it for cheaper than you would at the physical location. Now, what's that I smell? Is it vanilla baked goods or fresh popcorn or a seasonal peppermint treat perhaps? All of the above? Sort of. More than likely, when you're walking down Main Street USA, you're getting a big ol' whiff of smellitizers and not the actual goodie you're suddenly craving. Disney uses what many now know as smellitizers to pump scents throughout the park and on specific rides to really give you an experience that impacts all your senses. But a big reason Disney's pumping those smells throughout Main Street USA is to make the treats being sold around you very tantalizing. So what's the solution? Throw your hands up and shout, "Okay, Disney, you win," and then go buy all the cookies and cakes? Just kidding. Sort of. If you're entering Main Street USA at the start of your morning, do not break away from your original mission of getting on the lines before the rest of the crowds get there, just because you can't get your mind off the Mickey Mouse cinnamon rolls over at the Main Street Bakery. Not only will this pit stop throw off your plans, but the lines for the bakery are the longest in the morning, since this is also Magic Kingdom's Starbucks location and people really want their morning latte coursing through their veins at the start of the day. Instead of spending half an hour in line for the same Starbucks drink you can get back home, consider grabbing a cup of joe from the Joffrey's Revive location in Tomorrowland or the Westward Ho kiosk in Frontierland later on, which both tend to have much lower crowds in the morning or throughout the day. Or if you really want to save some money, just brew yourself a cup of Joffrey's back in your Disney hotel room, since they'll have a little Keurig all hooked up with complimentary Joffrey's coffee that you can use even before you board the bus. Even several non-Disney hotels will serve free coffee in the morning, which you'll usually be able to find in the lobbies. And if you're thinking about going to Main Street Confectionery as a pit stop, remember that they not only have a mobile order option, which you can use when the physical line is way too long, but annual pass holders can also get 20% off of your confectionery purchases. Now, what could be better than experiencing your new favorite Disney ride of all time? Oh, I know, owning a piece of merchandise that represents your new favorite Disney ride of all time. Disney knows what they're doing when they place gift shops at a ride's exit. They know you're currently feeling an adrenaline high that might make you way more susceptible to buying something on a whim for the attraction you've just fallen in love with. It happens to me all the time. You can find gift shops attached to or close by the exits of rides like Pirates of the Caribbean, Flight of Passage, Tower of Terror, Frozen Ever After. Yeah, I'm gonna stop there for now. There's just a lot of them. And when it comes to budgeting money for souvenirs, try to refrain from spending the bulk of it on day one in a single shop when you haven't even gotten the chance to see what the rest of the ride gift shops or other ride locations might have to offer. While some ride gift shops might have souvenirs that you'll find everywhere around property, others have unique items that you'll find in this specific store and that specific store alone. This includes the Pandora merch from Wind Traders, the Tron customizable figures from Tomorrowland Launch Depot, and even certain specialty items from the Haunted Mansion themed Memento Mori. Keep in mind that if a gift shop is directly attached to a ride or attraction, this doesn't mean you have to purchase your souvenirs for it as soon as you hop off the experience. You can always leave and walk around and ride a few other rides and have time to think about those, and then come back for them later if they're still burning a hole in your pocket. I think some people actually think you have to ride the ride to go to the gift shop. You don't have to. You can just go in the gift shop. So my rule of thumb, if I leave an item behind for now and I just don't have the energy to go back and get it by the end of the day, then I probably didn't really want it all that badly in the first place. So yeah, Disney is expensive, but that doesn't mean you can't still save money every chance you get and make it a little less so. If you're still looking for more tips and tricks to help you save the big bucks on your future Disney vacation, you are in the right place. Make sure to keep checking back here with the DFB squad. We'll keep on providing you with the best savings advice out there for your big Orlando getaway. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.